Ever wonder what happens to an angel if you try and raise them from the dead using necromancy? I mean, sure. Usually when an angel is killed far away from its home plane, it simply blows up into a radiant light and reforms back in super heaven or whatever. But if that angel is slain in its home, or if you have magic powerful enough to prevent that angel from dissipating into a ball of light when you hit it with a big stick, is it possible to raise them from the dead? Kinda. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the abyss of obscure D&D lore and the actual abyss itself, talking about the little known lore regarding lichdom and taking a look at one of the yuckiest creatures to ever see print, the Angel of Decay. We've also got updated 5e stats for the thing, you know, in case you've decided for some reason your PCs don't need all of their skin. The Angel of Decay originally comes from one of my favorite D&D books, Libris Mortis, the Book of Undead. As you can imagine, there is a bunch of pretty gruesome stuff in this book, but the artwork of this creature just has such an evocative, oh god, what the hell is that quality to it. In fact, I remember flipping through the Libris Mortis for the first time and saying, oh god, what the hell is that? Like it was yesterday. So obviously we're dealing with an undead creature here, but despite their name, these creatures aren't just angels raised in undeath. They're actually somewhat of a misnomer, because while the first Angels of Decay were indeed angelic creatures before becoming whatever the hell this is, you don't need to use angel corpses to create one of these guys, but it does make it a little easier. Let me explain. We're gonna pay our old pal Orcus, Lord of Undeath, a quick visit. Orcus is a straight up demon lord, and he hates it when things are alive and not dead. He is incredibly powerful, so much so that he almost achieved actual divinity, nearly ascending to godhood, which would have been a huge bummer for basically everyone. Fortunately, he was thwarted, but when the gods of Mount Celestia sent a bunch of angels down into his domain to slay the demon lord, he promptly slaughtered all of them, and then raised their corpses into a new undead abomination. Thus, the first Angels of Decay were born. Everything about them was meant to be a mockery of a true angel's celestial nature. They would be some of his greatest servants, sowing death and discord wherever ushered to do so. Now, even you can create an Angel of Decay without the actual factual corpse of an angel. If you have access to sufficient corpses and reagents, anything is possible. But due to their appearance and the fact that the first among them were literally made using the corpses of angelic beings, the name stuck. At least until 4th edition D&D, where their name was changed to the Rot Harbinger for some reason. Though the first line of text in their entry does literally say, sometimes known as Angels of Decay, Rot Harbingers are hateful winged undead that inflict a rotting curse with their touch. What's also wild about their 4e monster entry is that it isn't in some random supplement you've never heard of or an issue of Dragon magazine. It's in the core monster manual. Going from a single entry in Libris Mortis to a full page in the first ever 4th edition monster manual is like going from playing an acoustic set in your local dive bar's open mic night to playing the Super Bowl. So good for them. Now, the Angel of Decay, or Rot Harbinger if you're bad, isn't just an undead idiot with wings. These creatures are extremely dangerous, and they should instantly change the atmosphere of any campaign that they take part in. Speaking of taking part in a campaign, ever heard of Legend in the Mist? If you're a regular around these parts, you definitely have. And get this, they're sponsoring this video. Legend in the Mist is one of the coolest TTRPGs I've seen in a while, and I am stoked it's finally available digitally. This game went to Kickstarter last year. They absolutely destroyed their funding goal, built up tons of hype, and promised the world a rustic fantasy RPG inspired by folk tales and nostalgic stories akin to Lord of the Rings or Wheel of Time. And I am pleased to see that they absolutely delivered on everything I wanted and more. But wait, there's more! Yeah, I just said that. It's a narrative-first game which uses a series of facts and descriptions called tags formed by your character's backstory to inform what they can do and how they can do it, which means not only is your backstory literally your character sheet, the choices you make make, treasures you find, and places you go all become parts of that character. It's so much fun to watch a character grow and evolve using all the clever little systems this game puts in place. There are optional rules to make the game more or less complex depending on your tastes, and they even have a game accessory called the Action Grimoire, which is specifically designed for people like me who want a little bit more crunch in their tabletop game. And yeah, I'm talking about it in a video because they gave me money, which was very cool of them, by the way. But I also backed this game on Kickstarter with my own money last year, and I genuinely am in the process of putting together my first long-term campaign. So when I say I think the system really is super dang cool, it ain't just talk. There's so much more to love about this game, but if anything I said or any of the stylish artwork up on screen even remotely sounds or looks like something you would be interested in, you should check out the free introductory tutorial adventure linked in the description down below. It might just be the coolest how to play our new game product that I've ever seen. It's literally a 50-page, fully illustrated choose your own adventure comic book that will take you through the process of running a character, managing the game's unique systems, and even how that character might grow and evolve over the course of a short adventure. It's honestly really fun, it's great for learning the basics of the game, and by the end of it you'll definitely know if this game is for you. If you do decide you want to pick up the game and start playing, it is out now. You can just buy it digitally or pre-order the first physical print run, which is currently scheduled to start shipping early next year. Doing so also gives you access to the digital PDFs, so you can use those while you wait, and it's discounted until the end of August, which is great, because that's now. Thank you so much to Legend in the Mist for bringing us here to talk about rotting angels. Very cool of you. And speaking of the little ruffians, they're a CR13 creature, and they possess a high degree of intelligence, allowing them to operate independently of their creator, either as a lone threat or in command of lesser undead, sort of like a Death Knight, but with wings and unholy grace. The angel's unholy grace trait functions sort of like a paladin's aura, but exactly the opposite of a paladin's aura. It grants a bonus equal to its charisma modifier, which is a +3, to allies within a 15-foot area surrounding it, which of course includes the angel. However, its allies are usually going to be undead abominations, though the real fun part of this trait is that when the angel touches down to the ground and is no longer flying, a torrent of rot and decay just seeps out of its body and fills the area around it with accursed filth, causing anyone who starts their turn in the area to take a ton of necrotic damage, and maybe even get poisoned. The necrotic damage is bad, but it's the poison that gets you. The angel also absorbs life energy of those it rots away nearby, restoring hit points to itself as its mere presence causes death and decay in every living thing they touch. And if merely causing things to wither and die for the crime of being adjacent to them wasn't bad enough, they can of course make some gnarly claw attacks that do pretty unhealthy amounts of damage. They've also got a rotting gaze attack reminiscent of the Nothic, but like a Nothic on crack. They can also cast Animate Dead as a bonus action 3 times per day, allowing them to just create zombies and skeletons out of bodies on the battlefield, of which there will no doubt be many. I also gave them a spicy little reaction called Repulsive Defiance, which triggers anytime they take radiant damage and allows them to move up to half their speed and make a claw attack if they so choose. This was basically just to bring their power level up a little bit and have them in line with the new monsters we're starting to see in the 2024 stuff, but all of that coupled with a 50-foot fly speed, magic resistance, and a bad attitude makes for a pretty capable monster to run a fun and dynamic encounter, and this thing is just gonna be taking turns bound to shake things up. I mean, how could it not? It's a dead angel guy. That's pretty sick. But despite having a fun, shiny new undead creature to throw at the party, I think these guys have a lot of potential for plot hooks and world building too. Obviously, they can thrive as powerful minions summoned by a powerful necromancer, but this raises a few important points of order. First, what exactly is the ritual to create an Angel of Decay? Is it something accessible to necromancers once they reach a certain level of understanding, or is it an extremely difficult process that is only understood by those Orcus imparts this knowledge to? After all, he created the first of their kind, so obviously he knows how to do it. Maybe in your game you literally do need the corpse of an angel to make this creature, but that raises our second point of order. How does one even acquire an angel corpse? In most D&D settings, when an angel, devil, demon, or any extraplanar entity dies, they usually don't leave behind a body. Instead, they blow up in a burst of cosmic energy and reform on their native plane of existence. So if you're trying to get an angel body, you need to do one of two things. You could try and kill the creature on its home plane of existence, so one of the upper planes, and then transport their body back to the material plane or wherever you have your lair set up in order to conduct your foul ritual, which means literally going to heaven to fight an angel, successfully killing it, and then leaving without getting absolutely annihilated by the other creatures who live there. Or you could try to summon or lure an angel to your necromancer's lair, trap them there, and then perform some kind of ritual that prevents their essence from reforming. Orcus somehow did the latter, but he is also a near godlike entity, so that tracks. This also isn't to say that either of these options are impossible, but it's something worth thinking about. Maybe you have an extremely powerful villain who is plane shifting into Mount Celestia, hunting angels, and then plane shifting back to his lair on the material plane with a haul of angelic corpses in order to make some new servants. Honestly, that goes crazy and would make for a really interesting plot hook. You hate to be the group of adventurers on the material plane who receive a message from an angel asking for them to help track down the person hunting celestial beings. Alternatively, if it's a dimensional anchoring situation, you could have a similar scene play out, except the villain of the day has somehow attained the true name of many angels and is summoning them into magic circles, using planar binding to subdue them, performing some sort of magic ritual that prevents them from reforming back in Mount Celestia, and then transforming them into undead abominations. This horrible necromancer could be just an agent, but they could also be a very high-level cultist of Orcus who has learned the secrets of angel entrapment from the king of undead himself. Most cultists who entreat Orcus are doing so in order to learn the secrets of lichdom, so maybe he's even a lich, which would make sense. But if you want to just use the Angels of Decay as servants of Orcus straight up, maybe you flip the script and have your big bad evil guy be an aspiring lich who stole the secrets of lichdom from Orcus, and now the demon lord is sending his agents to the material plane to destroy him. The murder of a wannabe lich might not be something the party is stressed about, but the Angels of Decay are liable to wreak havoc on all kinds of living people aside from their target, so they might end up in this weird three-way battle between Orcus's servants and the necromancer on the cusp of lichdom. You could also use these creatures as angel-like servants to any god of undeath, or perhaps even a fallen god who dragged all his servants with him upon dying in the astral sea, destined to become a floating god corpse, with the Angels of Decay now living on the dead god's body, still tending to the bastardized version of rites and rituals their creator once demanded of them. And as the book says, if you don't have room for the undead angel of it all, you can just have these guys be a powerful undead minion or even standalone threat for a party of appropriate CR. I really love creatures that have in-world lore implications beyond their basic function, and the Angel of Decay is nothing if not that. I encourage you to come up with your own plot hooks and ideas, which you are more than welcome to share in the comments down below. And as always, if you do want to use this creature, my 5e conversion is linked in the description down below, and the high-res PDF, including the lovely new art from Archer Art, can be found on the Dungeon Dad Patreon page, also linked down there. Speaking of, thank you to all the patrons who make this show possible, and a big thank you to this week's randomly selected Patron of the Week. Thank you so much to Dark Ringmaster for helping me keep this circus going. I couldn't do it without you. And thank you for watching. This was the third video in our little summer spotlight series of episodes on some monster types I haven't talked about in a while, which means next week we've got a Celestial on the way, and it is such a weird creature. Like, one of the weirdest I've ever covered. That said, I still haven't locked in the beast I want to cover for the final episode, so please keep those suggestions coming. There are a ton of solid ideas in the comments of last week's video and the one before that, and I'm still going through a lot of them, but by no means have I decided on one just yet, so please keep the recommendations coming for the Monster of the Week Beast Hunt, because Lord knows there's gotta be one out there. Also, if you just have a monster suggestion, regardless of the specific need for a beast, let me know in the comments down below as well, and it'll get added to the list. Or you can go into the Dungeon Dad Discord, which is linked in the description down below, in the Monster Suggestions channel, and get it added to the list that way. Thank you once again for watching. That's all I got today. I'll see you in the next one. Till then.
Who's that? Monster of the Week.